So when you wake up tomorrow, football season will officially be underway. It's the first practice of Cowboys training camp, and Bill Jones is live for us in Oxnard, California, where Jerry Jones addressed the state of the team. Bill.
And I hate to bring this up right off the top, Dan, but it already feels like football season here in Oxnard as we've got temperatures in the 60s tonight. And Jerry Jones will be joining us live a little bit later, but lots to talk about at the State of the Cowboys address today. This is the way the Cowboys have kicked off training camp every year for the 29 years that Jerry Jones has owned the team. A total of 6 Cowboys players are either being investigated or have been suspended by the league for various offenses this offseason. Lots of speculation about Ezekiel Elliott as an NFL investigation into domestic violence allegations from a year ago continues. One of the big questions today, though, does Jerry anticipate Zeke possibly being suspended?
Do you anticipate him possibly getting suspended?
I have reviewed everything. As you know, he's had his complete president. There is absolutely nothing, not one thing that I've seen that has anything to do with domestic violence. I don't want to answer anymore, but I've seen nothing.
Jerry, pretty emphatic about Ezekiel Elliott and those allegations earlier today here in Oxnard. And again, he will join us live a little bit later in this newscast. And, it was a pretty big day for a Dallasite as well. Dan?
Elise, thank you so much. Time to talk now Dallas Cowboys football. And we have the perfect way to get you started. Let's send things out to Bill Jones in Oxnard, California, where they're getting ready to start training camp, sitting down with the one and only owner of the Dallas Cowboys, Jerry Jones. Bill, take it away. Thank you, sir.
That's right, Dan. This is the perfect way to kick off training camp. We've got the owner, president, and general manager who looks like he's ready for football right now. Got the fight sweatshirt on and everything, right?
Let me tell you, it could have been 100 degrees out here right now, and it's not. But I was going to put on this little sweatsuit outfit no matter what the temperature was. I just like the feeling that it's cool out here, don't you?
Yes, it definitely is. It is cool. It's in the upper 60s out here. 29th training camp. Can you believe it's 29 years?
Well, I can't. And I see many familiar faces from the first training camp that we were a part of when I bought the Cowboys. But I would have never thought, what we're doing tonight is really special. To have the many stations that do their entire sports programming out here. When I first saw this and walked out, and it looked like that some movie set with all of the stations doing this at the same time, and I just went, wow, I must be with the Dallas Cowboys.
And those are stations from all over the state of Texas and beyond, actually. It is strange, though, that for the first time in, 14 years, Tony Romo's not here at this training camp. How strange is that?
It is, and I would have never thought that I could be sitting here without having all black and being in mourning if Tony weren't here. I had such high expectation every year if we could keep him healthy. And at one point, I didn't think that was as hard to do as it later turned out to be. But he was a quarterback that as long as we had him on the field, we had a chance to win all of those games.
He says he is 99.9% retired now. He's going to be at your Hall of Fame induction, by the way.
Yes, he is. And I actually spent some time with him last night and some key people that were with CBS. And are they proud of him? He's proud to be involved. Jim Nance, they were all there. And it's an exciting time for Tony, as it should be. It really is an exciting time for us.
All right, and speaking of that, what is it about Dak Prescott that gives you the confidence that he can avoid the sophomore jinx that people talk about?
Well, I think his qualities are really so manifest in leadership. Roger Staubach, when we were looking at getting the successor to Romo, I ran into him 2 or 3 times during that 2-year period of time. And I said, Roger, what do you think this day and time? Drop back, move around guy, what do you think? And he said, Jerry, I don't know that that's the point. Get somebody that the players will follow. And when we brought Dak Prescott in last year for the draft, we had him in our 30 players to bring in. He was like the Pied Piper. Not only the players, but the coaches were just impressed with his leadership. He has continued to show that with his work ethic, with his preparation, and he just takes that right to the practice field or right to the game.
How would you characterize what's, I don't know if it's a media circus or however you would term it, that's going on with Zeke Elliott right now? With, of course, the investigation apparently is going to wrap up soon. You talked about it at the press conference today, the social media craze that's out there today. It's so much different than it was 25 years ago.
It certainly is, and Zeke is challenged by the fact that he has the status wherever he goes. It's just like a rock star. And he knows that he's gifted, he's blessed, he's lucky. By the same token, all of that visibility carries with it a lot of criticism. Maybe many of the things that we all see in our own mirror, but if it's directed toward an individual, you get to see it. Now, where am I going with all this? He's right inside, and he's very conscientious and very smart. And so that those challenges, I believe, that he can address. We want to help him in any way that we can. He's in a platform. The NFL has got the toughest behavior standards of any sport on this planet. It's got the tougher standards as to substance. And I'm all for that. But he's in a program that has that demand, and then it demands that you recognize perception. Not necessarily just reality, but perception, because we want the NFL to be perceived in the right kind of way. So all of those things, I think he'll come to.
And as you said today, you're privy to the investigation, and you feel good where Zeke is right now.
I really do. I'm very aware of everything, and there is no domestic violence issue here.
This team, why will it be better this year?
Well, first of all, repetition in football is really the most influential thing. And so that just to have Dak, Zeke, our line, especially on the offensive side of the ball, they're going to get to have the experience of last year and, of course, the repetition of preparing for this year. Things have got to change now. Our opponents are not going to let us get away with putting the same stuff to them as we did last year. But the repetition of working together should make us better. This is a young team, and so you could look for improvement. And
that includes on the defensive side.
Secondly, I think that defense can improve. We've got an opportunity. We've really brought in some impressive talent. We brought in some real quickness. We brought in some speed. We brought in some size. I think we've got great coaching. So I would look for us to be a better team overall.
Right, you're 13 days away from going into the Hall of Fame. It's going to be such a special weekend for not only you, but the entire Jones family and the organization. But there's one guy going back in your history, University of Arkansas. I wonder if he's going to be on your mind throughout that weekend, and that would be the great Frank Broyles. He's had some health issues here lately. How much will Frank Broyles be on your mind?
Well, he was such an influence to me. He's a very young man when I was a freshman at the University of Arkansas. He's a tremendous influence. He taught us all about the fourth quarter. Well, later, his wife Barbara suffered from Alzheimer's. He wrote a book on caregiving. He was the greatest example of caregiving that I really am aware of. And I thought, Coach, you would make us hold up those fourth quarter fingers about the football game. Here you are still coaching us about the fourth quarter, but it's the fourth quarter of life. He's a special man, really influenced me. It's no accident that two of his ex-players happen to be the first two coaches that I hired with the University of Arkansas, Jimmy Johnson and Barry Switzer. I wish him so much. He's had a profound influence, and every chance that I get, I reflect back on his football philosophy. He actually was a management major, and everything was about math. You always put two of your guys on one of theirs, three of yours on two of theirs, 4 years on that. He was a real innovator when it came to the financing of college programs. And he actually started the process of if you give a scholarship, you could have 4 of the best seats in the House. That really was a predecessor, a basis of a lot of the things that we do right now in the NFL.
And finally, you mentioned Jean, who's going to present you at the Hall of Fame. You mentioned her at the press conference. We're going to hear that comment a little bit later. My question to you as we wrap this up, does she get a say on the Ring of Honor? Because it sounds like she wants to put Jimmy Johnson in the Ring of Honor.
Well, she's known
from that story.
Let me say this. She's known him a long time, just as I have with that. And but let me say, she has a lot of influence around here. Now, after 54 years, I've learned how to say that very well. Jean has a lot of influence around here.
I understand. I understand. All right, Jerry, we appreciate it. Good luck to you.
Thank you, man.
All right, and we continue in just a moment. Jordan Spieth, what a weekend he had overseas. And Jason Garrett gets set for the Cowboys' first practice tomorrow here in Oxnard. We're back to Oxnard here in just a bit. Jerry Jones was in Hall of Fame form talking about his wife, Jean, answering questions from the media in Oxnard today, perhaps using it as a warm-up for his Hall of Fame speech in Canton, Ohio in 13 days. His wife, Jean, of course, will present Jerry for his enshrinement. And Jerry remembers Jean questioning him about a coaching decision he made in 1994.
I'll never forget pillow talk. Came home, didn't even look at me. You just can't leave it alone, can you? How in the world is Jimmy not our coach?
What was your answer, Jerry?
And you're speechless.
Jerry rendered speechless, and that is very rare. All right, the Cowboys will be out here on the practice field. First practice of the 2017 training camp tomorrow afternoon. We'll, of course, cover it live and throughout training camp here in Oxnard as we check in on Jason Garrett's Cowboys, and CBS 11 News continues in a moment.